Hello, everybody. This is episode 2 of In the Know. This is my daily short form podcast show, which is aimed at putting people in the know. A show where I cover a variety of topics using my experiences and viewpoints in life to put people in that know. Now, you may want to ask, what is the know? It's the understanding that seems to be hard for people to grasp the concept of life, which will make their lives a lot easier. The following is an intro speech into the topic of today, and that topic is a speech regarding how to take notes. When in school, there were so many things that I was good at, and that was taking notes was one of those things. I knew there was a structure that came with writing my notes that would allow me to come back and understand the course lessons from that specific date. Now, it was tough at first, but eventually I came to an understanding of how to properly construct my notes. Meaning, at first, I used to just write down what the teacher was saying. Then when I came back to it, I didn't understand what I had written. It was almost as if somebody else had written my notes for me, yet it was still my writing. So, how do you write structure notes? Well, allow me to explain. You see, in school, this is how I learned. From elementary all the way through high school, a lot of times, my notes were written almost in the wrong way before I got it right. And here's why: I would write random sentences from the book, big important words with their definitions to appear like I knew what I was talking about. I used to crunch notes from the entire semester in the last weeks leading up to the end of the semester before I was able to take tests, which never panned out well. There was no structure, just placed in information, no order, nothing of importance was highlighted. I never constructed a study group with other students. I would always ask to borrow people's notes. I would memorize things without properly writing it down, and I would also unname my notebooks, which was a big mistake because if you had a history class and a social studies class and a science class, it's very important to keep those things separate. So I had this overall really bad structure. Now, when I got to college, I needed to have a little more structure. So I constructed my notes by way of computer, and I switched over everything from my notebook onto Microsoft Word process. And this is how I structured it. And I'm going to give you guys an example after this. I would put title, the date, subject. I would have a number with a top header. I would press enter, and then I would tab in. And then you would have another subheader italicized, and then I would press enter and another header with an underline lowercase. And this is how I structure my notes. Here's an example: computer usage. Title at the top would be the common code. You left on the left align part of the Microsoft Word doc. The subject, then the date underneath. So for instance, underneath that, the common code sickness, you would write human biology, and then date would be, let's say, 10/15/2020. And then taking notes for common code. I would write number one, press enter on my computer. Well, number one, period, then press enter, and then I would tab. And then you would see the letters A, B, C, and this was substitute as the subheader. And then that would be italicized on your computer. That would be something like coughing, sneezing, red nose, and that would be those categories right there. And then there would be notes under each of those. You would press enter again, and then tab, and then lowercase underline this header. And then you explain why, for instance, coughing, sneezing, and redness of the eyes take place within the common code. All on the basic chapter from the beginning to the end, meaning you read from the start to the finish and take notes all the way through. So you almost go, what should I look for when taking notes that could potentially be on a quiz later on? Look up things like certain scientific terminology for these tests and quizzes, um, key defining statements within the chapter of what you read. Um, there's always these little hidden words Read each paragraph from textbook and summarize each paragraph. You look into the margins, you always find these little hidden gems that are written in the margins of certain textbooks that the teacher might just throw in there or the professor might just toss in there. So you want to watch out for those as well. You can find those almost in the right portion and lower portion of the textbook that'll be written. Now, as far as highlighting, go through your notes and highlight key points and key terminology. You want to use different colors, highlighters, for different things. For instance, let's say red is going to be definitions, and then green is going to be for key statements, and then blue is going to be for entire passages that are important. Now, let's look at something else. Use today's resources. What does that mean? Utilizing people. Go to people in your classroom, share and compare your notes. You might figure out that you missed something that somebody else has, and you can put that within your notes. You can ask other people how they take notes as well. That could help you. Now, as far as social media, use social media to your advantage, such as Twitter. You could ask randomly through people for advice. Facebook, you could actually start groups that could provide you with some type of assistance, or use Instagram. Make random posts asking questions within the captions about things you need information about and leverage your following to your benefit. Now, as far as the end statement, right at the end, why we all need structure in school. Just as you are to read from left to right, that is how you take notes. But structure them such that you can envision yourself back in the classroom. You see, we all need structure in our lives. It's not just about the notes. The notes are in school a structured form of how you should be structuring your life, anyways. So don't think of it as trying to take notes in school. Look at it as something that will keep your mind life in order. And don't get me wrong, I myself have a hard time structuring things in my life. Even though I'm telling you this information, I am way better in the previous tense than I am in the past tense. I'm sorry, I'm way better now than I was in the past. I've progressed past the point of what I'm trying to help you understand. But guess what? That's life. You're always a work in progress. Even at the end of your life, you are still not going to have anything fully accomplished. So your goal is to be fully structured. Not 100% possible, but you can maximize your life to a certain degree. Thank you for listening to In the Know, and can't wait to bring the next episode where we talk about how to properly study.